This is Will Nunziata, New York City-based director and creator of theater, television, and film. And today I am thrilled to be speaking with writer and model, ALLEN STRK. Hello, ALLEN, how are you?
Pleasure to be here. Thank you.
ALLEN, thank you so much for joining me today. And before we just jump right in, I want to know, where were you born and when did you realize, first and foremost, that you had such a love of writing?
I was born in Flushing, so that's right in like at the heart of Queens, New York. And I know Queens is like a very diverse area. You know, when you talk about like the five boroughs in New York, they mention Queens, like, okay, there's so many different people there. So I was like in the main area of Flushing. When it comes to writing, I think by the time I was like a teenager, because I was just always into watching the news, whether it be CBS, NBC, ABC. Like I just loved the idea watching the news, but then seeing, because at the time, like online, you would watch like you would get information, but then you would have to go seek out articles. And that's when I was into like using AOL. If you remember AOL back in the day, like 7.0, you have to wait like 5 minutes to get online. But then you get to go with these articles and just seeing how people crafted their stories together. It was beautiful. So I think by 13, I really had the passion and drive to want to do it.
I love it. Do you have any experience? Do you have any writing experiences for you that stand out, as you know, whether it was like an article or a story that you covered yourself that you're most proud of, or is the most memorable?
I think some of them goes beyond like on the field. So obviously I cover sports and a lot of it takes place on field performance, but I actually prefer doing stuff off field, like maybe going more inside into a personal life or a personal story, or maybe highlighting a player. So most recently I wrote about his name is Calvin Ridley. He most recently stepped away from the sport. He's just want to take care of his mental health. He didn't feel like he was performing at a particularly high level. So I wrote about the story of like how sports is becoming much more conscious about mental health, and I was able to put together a really cohesive piece on how we should respect them, giving them the platform to speak up on these topics. Because when you think about it, 10 years ago, you couldn't really speak about these kind of subjects. You couldn't be emotional. People would question you. There's a big stigma behind it. But I think people are now respecting, you know, thought process. Like if this person just can't perform at the highest level, he's not mentally there. You have to respect the person, whether it's he or she. So being able to talk about such a subject and trying to bring, because my writing style, I like to lighten readers. So trying to enlighten readers and giving them an idea of, be supportive and understand people go through hardships. And, if someone's working their entire life to do something, it must be something severe they're going through for them to be incapable of doing it. So that's kind of what I want to keep in mind. And I wrote that a month ago and feedback was excellent. So I would say that was definitely one that, most recent that comes to mind, something that I would love to highlight.
It's amazing. Well, listen, I mean, and thank goodness, not only the athlete you mentioned, but anyone. I mean, I think of Naomi Osaka, I think of Simone Biles, artists of
Mm.
that nature, or athletes rather, of that nature as well. You're right. I mean, and especially in a time when I think, we all have been through a collective and continue to move through a collective trauma that, artists, athletes, people can realize that actually meant that actually just admitting you might have an issue going on, that it's actually a superpower and not a weakness. So I want to just thank you as someone who, by the way, to be vulnerable, has mental health issues. So thank you for shedding light in such a positive way,
Mhm.
that it's something that we should be talking about and not hiding.
Absolutely.
Alan, and how did the whole modeling come about for you?
So I was interviewing for a PR position, like I want to say April of 2018. I just turned 25, and because I have some sort of experience with PR, even though I have much more work on the writing and marketing side. But I was talking to this guy's name was Justin Lobert, and within like 10 minutes of a conversation, I knew baseline style, like, okay, this is probably not gonna be a fit for me, but we were just having a general conversation.
Right.
And then he just goes like, you ever mentioned that you can model? And I was like, no, I've never really received this. And he goes, I'm telling you, you have to look for it, because he's someone that had like 25 years of experience in PR. He's worked with Anthony Bourdain, rest in peace, Sidney Crawford, Michael Jordan. Like he's worked with a huge amount of people. And you're just telling me, he's like, you have to look for it. You just do research and see what you could do with it. Like, I don't know where your passion lies, but I think you should go for it. And that's when I just started doing research, did a couple of test shoots, and within 2 months, I was like, all right, I'm ready to do this. Because you can't just hop into it. That's one thing I tell people is you got to do a couple of test shoots. You got to be on camera 2 to 3, even 4 hours if possible. Because it's a lot of work. It's not just looking good and smiling for a bit. You
Well,
really gotta apply yourself to it.
I think there's a big preconceived notion with modeling. A little bit, just having done a little bit in my time, it takes not only work, it takes concentration, and also, dare I say, dependent on what the concept of the shoot is, it takes this little bit of craft of acting. I mean, do you
Oh
know what I
yeah,
mean?
totally, totally.
And people don't realize that.
Uh-huh.
So here you
So,
are, Alan, you're like a Superman yourself. Here you are shedding positive light on mental health and also being, a high fashion model. Like, what else is on the bucket list for Alan? I mean, it seems like you can do it all.
bucket list. That's a good question. It was great to get back on because obviously with what's happened with COVID, things have been very restricted. But I actually just recently did Fashion Week. And I think Fashion Week, that's kind of like one of the biggest things you could do as a model. So it's like I did a big runway walk at the roommate Grace Hotel. So that was a really cool
What do your
experience
parents
recently.
think about you being this fashion model now in New York?
Uh they kind of downplay it because I'm first off, I'm humble. I'm not very the boasting type. Obviously, you have to have the confidence, but for them, they appreciate it and they like the fact that I maintain a high standard. I would because as a model, you have to be healthy. You have to make sure you stay in shape. So living a clean, consistent like lifestyle where I have a certain amount of discipline, they appreciate that. But I guess the flame point side that like, whatever, do what you can, maintain your integrity.
God bless. Well, listen, I think that's why you're going to go far and have gone far because you are a very humble person on the planet. I can tell your vibe even through this little Zoom screen. Well, listen, I want to let everyone know for more on the incredible Alan, you can read more about him right below this video. And Alan, God bless you. And thank you so much for your time today. And listen, I'm excited that you're joining this new social media platform. I've interviewed over 700 artists of all disciplines all around the frickin' world, from high fashion models to Emmy, Tony, Grammy Award winning singers and actors to up and coming indie artists. And I just love meeting someone like you who has, again, a multidisciplinary love of different parts of the art landscape. So it's very nice to meet you.
Oh, it's been a blessing. Yeah, I think everyone has a passion, but there's as you grow older, you kind of find a couple more, and you kind of want to be involved with it. Like you want to be able to utilize your skill set and learn, and just kind of see because you get inspired by others as well. So that's what I would advise to someone. As you get older, it's like okay, you had your childhood ambition, but now you kind of seek out a couple of things like, man, maybe I could do something here. So I guess that's my piece of advice for those out there.
I love it, my friend. Well, listen, thank you. And I'm glad we're connected now.
It's been a blast, Will. Thank you.